The interactive prototypes are set in this panel, Prototype. So I choose this panel and select the first frame. I want to get to this frame when I press on the player. It's very easy to do. I just press the circle and drag to the frame that I want to go to. On the right, I'll get the prototype settings. The default for mobile prototypes is that on tap we go to this frame. We can change the event. It can be on drag or while hovering, while pressing. We can change what happens. We can either go to another frame or, for example, open an overlay. We can also scroll to particular elements on the same frame, but now I want to go to another frame. And the same I want to do in the navigation. So I'm going to choose this icon, and on tap I want to go back. On tap, navigate to List. Let's check what we have now. I press on Player, and I go to the player. I press on arrow, and I get back. But currently there is no animation. Let's try to set the animation. We have the animation settings here. Now the transition is instant, but I can change it. For example, put it to dissolve or put it to smart animate. What smart animate does? It tries to smoothly transition the objects on one screen to another screen. Let's see what will happen if I choose smart animate. I'll probably make it a little bit faster only. I press player and something strange happened. Let's try again. Player. It seems like Figma tried to animate these pictures. Let's try again. It did so because it recognized that the pictures are the same. So this picture is the same as this picture, so it tried to animate it. But this is not what we want. What we want instead, to have this player smoothly transition from bottom. So let's try to arrange it. To do this, I have to tell the Figma that this player initially positioned here, so it can animate it from the bottom to top. So first I have to make the frame from this player. I go back to the design panel and press F. And I make the main frame. Let's name it player. And let's make sure that everything is inside. We have the cards outside, so I put it inside. Now let's see, everything is inside. Let's set a background color for this player. I choose plus and choose the background color. Now I can copy this player and pass on the previous screen. Command V. And now put it to the bottom. The size of the frame is 812 pixels, so I can just put it in Y position. And I have my player at the bottom. Let's try to see what happens now. I go back and press on the player. It seems the animation works now. The heart button is moving though. Let's change it. The heart button is moving because it has the same name here, touch area, and here. And also inside all the components have the same name, so Figma thinks that it should animate this icon. And I don't want to do this. So I have to change the name. I have to change the name of the element that I don't want to be animated. Let's say this one. Let's see what happens. Now it's not animating. Let's set the animation also back. I choose the animation and put it to Smart Animate. What I also want to do is set the gesture animation. So when I scroll down from this area, I get to this screen. To do this, I have to choose the area and set first where I want to go, navigate to List. But now I don't want to go on top, I want to go on Drag. Let's see what has changed. I'll try to drag the navigation bar. Strange, but it seems like it doesn't work. Let's try to make the same navigation but with Media Player and see if it will work. From the Media Player I want to go to this frame and Now I don't want to go on top, I want to go on drag. Let's see what happens. I'll drag navigation player. Okay, the navigation player seems to work. And the gesture back doesn't work for some reason. I think it's Figma bug, to be honest, so I'm going to leave it now. We have lost our cards. Let's try to understand what has happened. I press on the card, and now we have our cards, but they are inside the navigation frame. Okay, when I'm recording the video, my computer is not working reliably, so sometimes it doesn't do what I want it to do. So I'll just change the position, and I have to do the same for this player that is hidden. So I have to choose it, player, and here I have to find my cards and put it from the frame, like this. Now I have them back, and I want to slide them. To do this, I have to copy this frame and create another state. So this time I want this card to be here and this card to be here. So this card is -192 and it is 20 to 5 pixels. So we make it 225. Oops. The constraints are set wrong, so going back and set the constraints first. To the bottom and to the center. And now set the size. -192. And 40 pixels opacity, and we have to delete this card. Okay, so for this card we do the opposite. 260 in the center. Set the opacity. And also we should set the text. It is 32 pixels apart. So it's a 32. No, the picture is not right. Now better. Now I want to be able to slide to this picture. So I choose prototype, go to this frame, but go not on top, but on drag. Navigate to, now plane, smart animate. Oh, let's change the name. Now plane 2. And the same for this picture. Navigate to, now plane, smart animate. Let's see what happens. We open our player and try to drag. Yeah, it's working. Perfect. Now let's animate our heart button. Oh, here we have the navigation on top. It is on drag. And we want to animate the heart button. To do this, I'm going to create an interactive component. So I'm going to copy this button again, and I'm going to make it the interactive component. First, I have to make it as a new component, because now it is the generic component that we are using everywhere, and I want it to be animated only with heart button. So I'm going to put it in another component. Create component, and this time heart button. Okay, now I'll set the variants, and another variant will be liked. And I change the icon. Let's set the background color so it's easier to see. Now let's make the component interactive. I'm going to go to prototype and say when I touch this button, I go to this button. Figma understood me perfectly. On top, change to this button. And we do it back. On top, change to this button. Oh, it is smart animate. I think the animation should be instant in this case. Here and here also instant. Now let's try to do this. By the way, here is the check for interactive component. If interactive components are not working for you in Figma, try to check this option. And I am going to copy this button. Just like this. So I'm going to delete this one and put this one. Let's check if it works. So we go back to this frame. Oh, what happens? You see now there is a confusion in the names of the buttons. To fix this, I have to set individual names to all the elements, but I'll do it a little bit later. Now let's check our button. Our button is working. So now let's fix this issue. I'm going to rename it to Shuffle. And the same for this button. And this one to Loop. And the same for this button. And this will be a playlist. Let's see. Working. That's all for this video. I leave this file for you in the resources, so you can check the details.